Off the Radar back at it. Today I'm joined by rapper Lil Cease. Lil Cease,
What's
how
good?
we doing?
What's up, man? What's going on?
Not too much, man. Not too much. So how you doing with all the craziness in the world currently?
Maintaining, just staying safe, staying inside, social distancing as much as I can, but I make my rounds whenever I have to, though. But the most important part been staying in, just working on music and trying to keep myself busy during these tough times.
Excellent. So we're going to jump into your career, but I want to know, what are you up to in 2020? You said something about music?
Yeah, I'm working on the project. It's a project called The Heart of the City. I've been working on it for like some years now. I just never felt like the climate of music that I was doing was the right time to put that type of music out. So I've been kind of just holding it. And now it's a very balanced platform now. I think a little bit of everything kind of wins now with the genres of hip hop. So I'm ready to put it out this year. So I'm working on that. And since I've been quarantining, I've been learning how to DJ. I bought some DJ equipment. So that's been like my quarantine toy. That's been like keeping me busy, learning how to work the controller and, setting up all your crates in the Serato. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
that's something I've been taking a liking to. So when we step out of quarantine, that's definitely gonna be one of my gigs I'm gonna be wanting to do.
Excellent. So you're going to try to step into some nightclubs or something like that, or would you actually consider putting out an album as a DJ?
Both. I would definitely love to. I love playing music as much as I love recording it. So just to see people dance and see people move and control the room, I definitely want to test that out and do it in front of a live audience. And of course, I wouldn't mind putting out a DJ project, something like that with a bunch of collaborations and some dope song concepts. So yeah, I would want to do both.
Excellent. I used to be a mobile DJ myself from about 2003 to 2010. The feeling you get when you bring up like different groups together. So you have like a rock and roll fan, you have a hip hop fan, you have a country, and you have that energetic song that puts everybody together. It's incredible.
Yeah, I watch Snoop do it. Every time Snoop comes to New York and he DJs, I go there, to check him out, to support him and show love. So I seen how he worked the room. I seen Talib Kweli do it. I see most Q-Tip do it. Okay. I seen Big Marky do it. So I watched all the rappers make the transition from being rappers to controlling the room and becoming DJs. So it's just something I just love to do, and I'm getting better at it as the days go. So I'm definitely looking forward to doing that.
Very cool. One other thing I wanted to hit on. So you're talking about your album. You were working on it for a couple of years. Can you explain to somebody that isn't in the hip hop or the music business how important timing is?
Oh, timing is everything. I think it plays a major part. You know what I mean? Like, and some artists, I think they catch the right timing to where it's just the perfect storm for everything. The type of music you're dropping, the climate of the music, all that definitely, it definitely plays a part. When I was working on this album, there was a lot of trap music. It was a lot of the trap stuff. And my music is more hip hop. It's more from the, it's more like the 90s sound, very balanced. It's not just one genre. I'm kind of doing everything: the girl records, the radio records, the hard records, the storytelling records, like a balanced project, because I've always been like a balanced artist. So when all the trap stuff was going on, I didn't want a whole album full of trap music. I know how to make trap music, but I didn't want my whole album to sound like that. So the climate just wasn't right for me. So I was very patient, to be like, what, just wait, because music is 360. It spins around, and right now. It's a little bit of everything that wins. I don't think it's just a certain genre. I think with social media, it gives the audience and the fans a platform where they can follow who they want to follow. Everything is not radio no more. Everything is not knocking down a record label door. Right now, it's all about YouTube and social media. You gather up your following, you get a great internet buzz going on. You can create your own situation. So I think it's a very balanced game now. I think to where all type of music can win. So this is why I want to drop some music now. I think it's the perfect time. And we're all woke too at the same time too. So much stuff going on. So I think people that got a voice that can really speak, that know how to speak, can actually make something happen for themselves.
Will Lil Cease be doing any mumble rap on that album?
If it comes to me, I don't discriminate with none of that. Like I said, I like to try everything. I'm not against mumble rap. I'm not against trap rap, whatever they want to call it. I just think that's just the new wave of music or what the young kids is doing. And I was young once, and I had to make certain kind of music, so I can't knock them. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it is you're doing to make money, to take care of your family, and it's not out there being in the streets hustling, robbing, stealing. I'm all for you. You know what I mean? So whatever music works for you, I'm gonna support it, and I wouldn't mind trying it if I could make it sound dope and make it sound right. I'll give it a shot.
Very good. Like how you put that. All right, so let's go to the beginning. Do you remember the first time somebody recognized you as a dope MC?
Um, Not really. You know, I just when we first came out with our record, Players Anthem, that was the first single we ever dropped. It was getting a major buzz, you know, and I guess just getting the love from the people. I think that was more first than anything. You know, your
Okay.
neighborhood, your city, hearing your song on the radio. You know, I didn't need no verification for somebody to say I was dope. Just the fact that it was playing on the radio was just like, okay, we dope. Because back in them times, you was excited when you heard yourself on the radio. Hearing
Oh, I
yourself on
bet.
the radio now to certain artists probably be like, oh, that ain't nothing. Because I'm getting a
Okay.
million views on YouTube. They could care less about radio play. You know what I'm saying? It's like, no, I get a
Okay.
million hits and I get a check from YouTube. I don't care if the radio don't play my music. You know what I mean? So it's totally different. Back in the 90s, you know, you would call your mother, you would call your sister, you would call your homeboys, yo, turn on the radio. I'm on the radio right now. That was like exciting. So that was the one time for me to where I felt like, okay, we're dope because our song was consistently and constantly playing on the radio.
Definitely. So when Players Anthem came out, you did the first verse. You absolutely killed it. How did your life change from when that song came out?
It changed dramatically. It changed instantly too. As soon as it came out, I mean, you know, I went from doing shows with Biggie to us getting booked ourselves and, you know, having a list full of shows. You know, Monday through Friday, you're traveling all over the world. You're rocking the song, and the crowds are getting bigger. You're hearing the song more. The in stores are getting, you know, they're getting more bigger. The lines are longer. You know what I mean? Like you watch the instant change of just being around somebody else and being kind of busy to always being busy. Now I'm going from doing shows with Big, doing Mafia shows, back to doing Biggie shows, back to doing Dream Mafia shows. It was just constant, consistently just working. So that's how the life changed. We went from sitting on the corner all day trying to figure out, you know, how we gonna hustle to make, how we gonna make money to buy sneakers, and then next thing you know, we traveling across the world, you know, rocking all over the place, out the country, every state. You know what I mean? So it changed like kind of quick.
Nice. So how did Junior Mafia form?
We all grew up in the same neighborhood. You know, all of us is from the same block, St. James Place. Me, Biggie, Lil Kim, Nino Brown, Chico. You know, most of the members are from St. James, and some live like around the corner on the next block. So we all grew up with each other since like public school.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we wasn't like a group put together. We was all just friends. And you know, once Biggie got on and he made it, he opened up a lane for us to you know, to come in and do our own thing. So, you know, it was just like you said, timing. You know what I'm saying? Timing and the right time at the right place. You know, just us growing up in the same neighborhood. None of us never thought Big was going to get that big and he was going to be that successful. And from him being successful, he trickled that down to us and, you know, put us in a situation and got us a record deal a year later after he dropped his album. We dropped in '95.
Nice. So Big was your best friend, is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what's interesting about that? He was what, 5 years older than you, 6 years older?
Yeah, 6 years.
Okay,
5 to 6 years.
okay, so when you're 13, 14 years old and somebody's 5, 6 years older than you, it seemed like an eternity. How did you guys become so close?
Just growing up in the same neighborhood. You know what I mean? We just, you know, we knew each other before that. He knew me since I was like 6 years old. You know what I
Okay.
mean? He used to watch me going back and forth to school. And you know, once I got like 11 and 12 and I started to go out there in the treacherous parts of Brooklyn and out there with the grown folks, that's when I started to, you know, talk to him more, and he was just trying to just, you know, steer me the right way. Like, you know, he kind of knew like, yo, this ain't, shouldn't be out here. This ain't your type of thing. But, you know, hey, to each his own type of thing. And once he got on with rap, he just kind of just kept me close right there. Like, you know what? I don't want you to be out here. So I'm going to make sure like you don't get too attached to the street stuff. You know what I mean? And as soon as he started rapping and started getting successful, I've been on the road with him since then. But, you know, we knew each other since kids. Just like I said, growing up in the same neighborhood, seeing each other all the time. When I used to go to school, he'd be on the block hustling, say what's up to me, give me a few dollars to go to school with, stuff like that. So we always kind of just knew each other as high and bond. And once I started hanging out on Fulton Street, that's when we started to build more. You know what I mean?
Okay. Now, can you think of an example, whether it be in personal life or in hip hop, that Biggie gave you good advice and steered you in the right direction?
I mean, that was all the time. You know, just anytime we was around, he never, you know, he let us be us. You know, at the end of the day, like, hey, you're gonna do you. I can't control you. You're gonna hustle. You're gonna hustle. You're not. Only thing I can tell you is, I don't think this would be the route you should take. You know what I mean? So that was his way. That was how he talked to all of us. It was nine. You know, it was 9 members in my group. So a lot of us was mostly young. So I think that's why he did that with us, to get us away from the streets, because he seen all the stuff that was going on out there, all the stuff he was up against. And we could have easily got caught up, shot dead, or been in jail for 25 years, easily, with all the stuff that was going on. And just the fact that once he got on and got a record deal, he kind of fed us the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, come on, y'all rap. I'm not going to rap and then y'all still be hustling. No, y'all going to do what I'm doing. This is going to be the new game. This is going to be our new hustle. And we all kind of just, fed right with it. And he opened up a lane and opened up the door for us to, do something that was positive, to do something that was legal. You know what I mean? To do something that was, that could change our lives. And that's what he done. And that's all he used to preach to us, mostly.
Okay. Now, I think I know what the answer to this next question is, but who's the greatest rapper of all time?
Notorious B.I.G, baby.
Okay, excellent. So a lot of people would say that, or maybe Tupac. So what makes Notorious B.I.G. the best of all time?
I mean, everybody's going to have, everybody's going to have their opinion. And that's hard. That's a great argument. If you want to say Tupac and him is the best, I wouldn't argue against that. Anybody that feel like Tupac is the king, I wouldn't even argue to that if that's how they feel. Some people think Kane is the best. Some people think Nas is the best. Absolutely. Some people think Jay-Z is the best. So, it's to each his own, whoever you think. To me, Biggie is the best, and I think Big's the best because I felt like, as far as rap, I think he covered all bases of being a rapper. You know what I mean? Like, when it comes to lyrics, he had it. The flows, he had it. Concepts, he had it. Storytelling, he had it. The cadence, he had it.
Absolutely.
Metaphors, he had it. I think to be a complete rapper, when you want to say somebody's the best, you want to cover them on all grounds of being a hip-hop artist. What makes you the best? You have to be able to cover all grounds that comes with hip-hop. And I think Biggie was the one who covered all parts of it. You know what I mean? Like, just if you want to break it down to, he could rap about any idea, any concept, any story, any different flows. He bounced them up and down. When you see what he did with the bone flow, like he was just very versatile because he was a big fan of music. He studied it. You know what I mean? Big Daddy Kane was his favorite artist. That's who he idolized. You know what I mean? Okay. So he was a fan of music. So he listened to everybody. You heard the Tupac influences in some of his rhymes. To tell, like, you could just tell that he was getting stuff from Tupac as well. You know what I mean? Like, all these different people he kind of just put in himself because he was just really big on hip hop. That's all we did was listen to everybody. We studied it. We mastered it because we were so into it back in them times. That was to get away from everything, was the music. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. And you brought up some really good points. One of them I liked was his song with Bone Thugs and Harmony, Notorious Thugs. Now, I remember when we started playing that song, some people that might not have been real savvy on hip hop, they actually thought Biggie was in Bone when they heard his verse. He adapted so well. Yeah.
Facts. I mean, and that was just an idea to show you, like, that's just how much that's how much he loved the hip hop. Like, he wanted to try different things. He wasn't afraid to try either. Some people will stay in that safe zone all the time. Big wasn't scared to jump out the window and try something. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I want to try to see if I can rhyme like Bone. And he did it. Right. And you see what he did with it. He killed it. He mastered it to his very best of his ability. He killed it. So that's kind of an idea just to show you, like, his competitive spirit too. Like, he wasn't afraid to try things and experiment with things. You know what I mean? Like, and that's something I got from him too. Don't be afraid to try. You never know what works for you until you do it.
Excellent. All right, so Biggie's the greatest rapper of all time, but who is the greatest rapper of all time that has a Lil in front of their name?
I love Lil Kim.
Okay.
I think she's like she's my favorite female MC. I like Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne is one of my favorites of today, of this generation today. I think he led the next generation these past 10 years, like this past decade. I think he's the one that's been the most influential to me. Mm-hmm. So I like Lil Wayne a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he will probably be my favorite little rapper with the little in front. Okay.
Very modest. You don't want to put yourself in that category?
No. I'm not really big on myself like that when it comes to. I'm very humble. I'm dope. I wouldn't take that away from myself, but I think it's a lot of dope little ones. That's I think has more rap skills than me.
Okay, so we brought up Lil Kim. You had an incredible song with "Crush on You." How was that? How was working on that track?
It was dope. I mean, of course, if you hear the original record, I was on the record by myself, so it was just like a fill-in song to put on her album. We didn't know the song was going to take off like that. So when her album came out, a lot of the radio stations all across the world was playing "Crush on You." So everybody at the label was like, "All right, how are we going to fix this?" You know, we can't
Sure.
just shoot it. We can't do Kim's second single with just a song with Lil Cease on it. So
Right.
you know, we wound up Kim wound up writing the verse to the remix, and we did it over and shot the video for it, and you know, to this day, that's my biggest record that I've done in my whole career.
Nice. How's your relationship with Lil Kim?
We good. We good.
You
We
good?
speak all the time. We fixed everything last year. You know, for the Biggie dinner, and that was our first time getting together in like about 12 years. So since then, we've been good. We've just been just talking. Trying to get to work, but the quarantine is slowing us up. You know, we're trying to work on this project, but everything's been love. My whole camp is all back together. We all vibing with each other. You know, all the 9 members of Junior Mafia, all the outside crew that worked with Biggie. We kind of all came together last year for Biggie's birthday.
Excellent. Okay, so now when you read the internet, you can get sometimes mixed reviews. So Junior Mafia obviously had their first album, which was huge. Now, did you guys ever break up, or was it just part of them that was in the second album? Can you clear that up a little bit?
I mean, I wouldn't say we broke up. It was just a lot of stuff going on with us amongst each other, and everybody was just kind of in separate places. It was just a lot of turmoil, a lot of problems, situations, and that kind of stirs some people the wrong way. And some of our people that went to jail. You know, so it's kind of like we just was like all over the place. You know, we were just going through a lot of stuff was happening. We didn't know how to really handle that part of it, and we kind of just had a little turmoil for a minute, but not really a breakup because all of us was kind of still intact. You know, I was still talking to Nino. You know, Bang was still with me all the time. I was still talking to Klepto. You know, me and Kim just didn't speak for a while, but everybody was still kind of good. So we had little minor situations, and it took some years and fixing, and Biggie got us back together.
Excellent.
The right way.
Okay. So in 1999, you had your solo album.
It was dope. It was it's a dope experience to really put a project together because my first project I was going to put out, Biggie was going to write the whole project. It was his whole idea. So after he passed, I didn't even think I was going to be able to do an album. But Crush on You was, it was so bubbling. After Biggie passed, every label was really trying to get their hands on me, and we just made a vow that we was going to get Kim a label, and I was going to be the first artist on it. So when that intuition happened, we went with it. And Atlantic had offered Kim her own record label, her own production deal, and I was the first artist signed. And that's when I started working on my album. So it was really dope for me to. It was a challenge for me because I was doing this album without Big, but I felt confident because I had all my Mafia homeboys in there collectively helping me put it together. Lil Kim was helping me put it together. Puff had helped executive produce it, so I had all the right intentions, had all the right things to help me put it together. And it came off as a dope project. It didn't sell a lot. It didn't get the great buzz then that it's supposed to get. But to this day, I get good reviews on the album. So it's a good project.
Yeah, it still gets a lot of play on Spotify. I noticed. I mean, it gets a lot of love from what I hear. I've never heard like
I get more love for that album now than when it came out in 1999. I hear more about it now than I did in 1999. Like I think just people just appreciate it. And it was my only album too, so I guess people kind of like your only one solo project. It was really dope. It was a well put together project. I will agree.
Definitely agree. Why do you think you only have one solo album?
Because after that, that's when a lot of stuff started to happen, like starting in the 2000s, like, and then when the album didn't do so well, labels like to back out, especially in them times. Labels didn't want to put more money into a project when the first project didn't do well. So I went through that for a while, and then when all the turmoil started happening, everything kind of just, I didn't have a record deal for a while. So I never wanted to do independent. Wasn't what it was then. So what it is now, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like you had all these different independent outlets back then. It'd be like, I fuck a record label. I'm just gonna do my album myself. It wasn't like that. You kind of needed the label back then to even do an album. You know what I mean? So for a while, I just, I couldn't get a great situation at that time.
Okay. Now, when you were making the album, or I guess in general, does the record label come to you and say, this is what we need? We need at least you to go gold. We need you to at least go platinum, or do they not really acknowledge that?
Yeah, I mean, every label would do that because when they give you budget money, it's that money is recoupable. You gotta give that money back.
Okay.
So the more money you're asking for, or the money they offer you, hey, we're gonna give you $500,000 for an album. Before you make any money, they have to make that $500,000 back.
Sure.
If they give you a record deal for $250,000, before you make any money, they have to recoup that money back that they gave you to work on the album. Some people will blow their budget. Some people will take a lot of money and spend it. They want to go buy a car, buy jewelry, buy a house. you know, that money is to work on the albums, to pay for your producers, to pay for the studio time, you know, your marketing, promotion, your videos. You know what I'm saying? So when they put all this money out and the record sales and the stuff don't come back, you kind of could get stuck sitting on the shelf. Or if they believe in you, they will invest in you again and give you another record deal. So sometimes it all depends on the label, but the label will tell you things that they feel is needed to create a dope album. They might come to you and go, "Hey, I like the album, but can you give me 2 more radio songs?" Or, you know, "Hey, I got an idea for this song for you, you know, to do. I think this song will be big." So you have a lot of A&Rs back in them times that will come and actually help you work on a project. Not the whole label as a whole, but you may just have the A&R that's usually inclined with you. That's kind of putting the project together with you. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So you brought up Puff a couple minutes ago. You were never officially on Bad Boy, correct?
Junior Mafia wasn't either. We wasn't signed to Bad Boy at all. We were just like part of the Bad Boy family. We were signed to Atlantic, and I was signed solo-wise under Lil Kim label, which was distributed through Atlantic.
Okay. Yeah, I was in Toronto a couple of summers ago watching the Bad Boy reunion. I was kind of disappointed. I was hoping that I'd actually see you there. So you weren't even invited or anything, or?
I did 3 shows here.
Oh, did you?
I wasn't on the whole tour. You know, it was a bunch of stuff going on. I don't know what it was, but I wasn't tripping about it.
Sure.
But I did the 2 shows here, and I did one in Jersey with them. But I didn't do none of the other shows. So I was on a few dates.
You take me back to when you guys were in the record studio. You're making music with Big. You go down the elevator, and then when the elevator door opened, you discovered Tupac had been shot multiple times. Can you take me back to that time frame?
I mean, yeah, I saw him. This was our first Junior Mafia session, and I was outside smoking a blunt with Nino, and I could look and see him walking past, and I recognized him from the bandana. I'm acknowledging him because this is our homeboy, Biggie homeboy.
Sure.
And once he recognized it was me, I was trying to tell him to come around the corner to the front entrance of the studio. I didn't know he was already coming there. Coincidentally, he was coming to the studio to record. I didn't know that. You know what I mean? I was just acknowledging him from seeing him, and that's being our homeboy. I was telling him I'm going to come downstairs and come get him. So I go in the room and I tell Big, I'm like, "Yo, Big, I just seen Pop. He downstairs." Big, like, "Word?" So, "Yo, go get him. Bring him upstairs." So, Nino comes downstairs with me. So when we get in the elevator, we get downstairs. When the elevator door opened, the homeboys he was with was on the floor, like laid down on the floor. Then one dude came from the corner and pointed the gun at me and Nino and told us to get the fuck back in the elevator.
Wow.
We got back in the elevator, you know what I'm saying, and hit the door.
You're told, yeah.
Yeah. And we went upstairs and we told Big, like, "Yo, Big, Pac is getting robbed." But I didn't see Pac downstairs at that time because he must have already got shot and was upstairs. But the other dudes he was with was downstairs. So when we came in the elevator, they was all like laid down on the floor. And so when we got back upstairs, I told Big, and he told us don't go nowhere. He's like, "Yo, y'all all stay here. Don't come downstairs." And he went downstairs and he like, we stayed there for like about 15 minutes. He didn't come back up, so we was like, "Yo, let's go check on him." So when we went downstairs, every time somebody was going downstairs, the police would have you, take you, hem you up and getting your name and everything, saying Tupac got shot and all that. And then like 10 minutes later, they rubbed him down on the truck or on the stretcher, put him in the ambulance. And that was the last time we saw Tupac.
Sure. So then after that, you guys had your issues with Tupac. Did he ever directly have an altercation with you that he said anything?
Nah, it wasn't no altercation. It was just everything kind of stemmed from that situation. It was never no personal. We had no personal issues, no personal situations. So, nah, that was it all started from there. So, with no other situations, no other problems. It was all started from the Quad Studio that night.
Okay, so he releases "Hit 'Em Up." What went through your head when he acknowledged you on that song?
I was upset for a second, but then I was like, Tupac shouted me out. You know what I'm saying? I mean, of course he called out Biggie, but any other Mafia member, he didn't say nobody else's name but mine because he knew me. You know what I mean? So there was a part of me that was like, I was mad that he was dissing us, but then I was like, I mean, well, it's Tupac. He was dissing everybody at this time, so their name come out his mouth. It was like, okay. The bad part is he talking bad about you, but Tupac said your name. You know what I'm saying? It was like kind of one of those, and of course we was upset. You don't never want nothing to go to that level of it being that way. It's gonna be hard to fix once you heard a record like that because he was already putting it out there that it was beef and it was on. You know what I'm saying? But of course we didn't make no response record. We just kind of just let it be because we always felt like the door be open for it to be fixed. And then we went by Big rules. Big said don't make no records, so none of us made no response records because I think Big wanted to have the opportunity to try to fix that situation.
Okay. So you guys didn't make a record. Wasn't Junior Mafia about to make a record and Big's like, no, you're not going to do this.
Yeah. We was ready to make a response record, and he was like, nah, don't do that. We're not going to do no response records. And if he threatened everybody if you did it, that he wasn't going to be your friend anymore, or you would no longer be in the group. So we all kind of just like, okay, we're not going to do no record.
And that could be a tribute to Biggie as well. I mean, for being that young, that shows some pretty good leadership to be that mature and be like, listen, guys, no, we're going to try to squash this.
Yeah, that just wasn't his thing. He was just like, yo, once we do it that way, you're going to escalate it. He was just like, let's just, he wanted room to fix it. So that was his whole thing. You know what I mean? Like his whole thing was, let's see if we can fix it. If we can't, it's going to be what it's going to be. But we're not going to make records. Let's just continue just to make our kind of records. Of course, after that, Big, played around with it, said, if Faye had twins, she probably have Tupacs. He joked about it. And at times on Long Kiss Goodnight, he said like little lines, but he never addressed Tupac as a name wise. He but he's letting you know, like, hey, I hear it. I know what's going on. I'm not going to be oblivious to it, but I'm not going to make all right, this is my Tupac diss song, or Junior Mafia is going to make a Tupac response song. Like, we didn't do that. He was just like, we're not going to do that. We're going to continue to do what we do and make records, but we're going to let it be known that we hear it. We hear what y'all saying. We got ears. Sure. We hear it, but we're not going to feed into it and make it this fiasco thing. We didn't want to, bring a lot of attention to it like that. We just wanted to just make records and just live and keep doing our numbers and keep rocking. You know what I'm saying? We was in a great space at that time.
Sure. So you were when Biggie was shot and killed, unfortunately. You were in the back seats?
Yes.
When that happened? Okay.
Yeah.
So can you give me an idea of what went through your head? I can't imagine how crazy and just terrible the situation was.
What went through my head? Shit, paranoid, man. You scared. I'm 17 years old. And we way across town. It's not like this is somewhere in familiar turf where you know where you are. We all the way in LA, so it's not like this is something that happened back home. So you're immediately just nervous and you're scared. You know what I'm saying? Like that was the first thing. I thought the whole world was crumbling down on us when that happened. You know what I mean? Like that's the last thing you thought would have happened was Biggie was going to get shot and get killed. You know what I mean? So it was just it's a crazy situation. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think they were going after everybody in the car, or just Big at the time?
It wasn't nothing to think. You're not thinking nothing at all. Once it happened the way it happened, it was like it's obvious. It was just a Biggie thing because they could have shot the whole truck up if they wanted to. There was nothing to stop him from doing that. He could have just waved that gun to the back and just shot the whole truck up. But his focus was on that one door, and when we all jumped out the car, the only one that didn't get out was Big. So. Yeah, I think whoever done it was just more focused on that. You know what I mean? Like more focused on Big because if he wanted to shoot the whole truck up, he had the option to. So it wasn't. I thought of was it just for Biggie or was it for everybody? You don't think that way. It ain't supposed to happen to begin with. You know what I mean? So you're not thinking pulling out of a club, somebody's going to ride up on you and shoot your truck up. So that wasn't no to us. You know what I mean? So we was all caught. We was all we was all shocked. We was all caught by surprise. We didn't expect it at all.
Yeah. Just absolutely tragic.
Yes.
Do you remember the last time you had or last thing Biggie ever said to you, conversation-wise or anything like that?
Oh, nah. I mean, nah. We were just in the club, just having fun. And I remember him just telling me like like he was just asking me how the club was, like because he couldn't walk. You know what I mean? So I was the one walking around the club, checking out the vibe, seeing who's in here. He was just like, like how it is, like it's lit over there. It's like I'm like blah 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 is over there, blah blah blah. Yeah, wow, people in here. You know what I mean? Like that was kind of like our last kind of conversation, and then us getting in the car and just listening to Hypnotize. I mean, going back to Cali, and D-Rock like grabbed his head because D-Rock was in the car with us too. That's one of Biggie's best friends too, and he grabbed Biggie's head and was like, "You back," and going back to Cali was playing, and then that's when we got to that light, and everything changed.
Sure. Do you think hip hop is fully recovered from the death of Tupac and Biggie?
No.
It just seems like it's never been the same. I mean, there's been some great things afterwards, but it seems like it's never been the same after that.
I mean, we lost two of the greatest that vocally spoke our life. You know what I mean? Tupac and Biggie spoke about life, not just for them, but the life of us. They spoke hip hop. You know what I mean? They was like two of the truest artists in the truest art form ever to ever do it. and to lose them the way we lost them in the same year, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just very weird. So I think, yeah, we didn't recover from that because music wise, we just didn't hear nothing like it yet. Again, you know, we didn't hear nobody like Tupac again. We didn't hear nobody like Biggie again. But we gotta appreciate the J. Cole's, appreciate the Drakes, the Kendricks, you know, people that still keeping it authentic. Griselda, Dave East, you know, people that still, it's people out here that rap that we can appreciate and go, okay,
Of course.
he's representing the culture the right way. But also to the Meek Mills and the Rosses too. Like, hip hop is still hip hop. It's just that, you know, hip hop's supposed to change. You know what I mean? Sports change too. You know, basketball ain't like how it used to be. Used to, you know, Detroit Bad Boys used to be able to knock people over and fight and do this and that. Now the game is so sensitive. So it's with everything. Everything takes a different step. So hip hop is just changing, and we have to learn to accept it the same way sports is changing right in our face, and we just have to accept it. You know what I mean? But you know, you're gonna never have another Tupac and another Biggie. I don't think there's nobody that's gonna touch that type of soul no time soon. But you know, let's hope. But you know, let's appreciate the ones that's representing out there for us now, the J. Cole's and the Kendricks and the Drakes, the Meeks, the Rosses. You know, there's some dope motherfuckers out there that's really, you know, putting in some work, man, and making some great music. You know what I mean?
They absolutely are. That's for sure. So with all the craziness going on in the world today, what do you think Tupac and Biggie would have became, or what type of leaders would they be in 2020?
What type of leaders would Tupac and Biggie be? I think they would be the leaders of the culture. You know, I think if they were still here, I think hip hop would be following their trends of what they was doing. You know, Tupac was very vocal with political stuff. So with all this stuff going on now, picture him right now with a pen and a pad rapping today. Think about the songs he was doing then. He was only 25 years old. I wonder if Heaven Got a Ghetto. You know, change. You know, he was really speaking about stuff that kind of coincide with today is what's going on. You know what I'm saying? And I think lyrically, I think Biggie would have kept I think he would have kept hip hop alive as far as, you know, hip hop. Like, all right, listen, y'all, keep the flows going. You know, keep the metaphors going. Let's be creative. Big was very creative when it came to music. You know, see how he would do "Give Me Your Loop" he did the other little kid voice. When he did "Warning," he's doing the other voice on the phone. Like, he was very like creative. I think he would have kept the scale going for people to be creative. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, keep challenging yourself. Keep going. You know, keep digging for new things. No, rap like this. Try it this way. Look, you should try to do their flow. Like, he was very, just like I said, he was very just into the music so much that he wasn't afraid to try. And I just think he would have, you know, kept that part of the hip hop going. I think he would have kept people to be creative, to still be nice. It would have been about bars. Like, all right, bring your best shit, because I'm gonna bring my best. You know what I mean? So right now, you ain't got to be your best. You just got to do something that could be, you know, that's catchy. You could just do something that's funny. But it ain't about the authenticity no more. Or, you know, it ain't about the authentic of hip hop anymore. It just they just take whatever it is. I think Biggie would have raised the scale and kept it lyrically.
Definitely, for sure. What did you think about the Biggie movie?
I liked it. For as much as that they could use that was truthful, it was cool. But you know, they had to put a lot of stuff in movie form. But overall, I thought it was a great movie because outside of music, it was everything that Biggie was. Outside of what he did musically, who he was as a person, I think it covered that very well. Every part of that you see, that's who Biggie was. He was very caring. He showed a lot of love. He took care of a lot of people. That's who he really was in real life. So I think that movie really showed that side of him, because you didn't get that with him with rap. You know, if you listen to his rap, you would think Biggie is the most craziest guy ever. He'd be around the most dangerous people, but this dude be around a bunch of young kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he's writing rhymes for these young kids to get them out the streets. Like, people don't know that he was so close with his mom. You know, that he talked to his mother every day on the phone. You know what I mean? So people wouldn't know these things if you listen to him lyrically. You would just like, oh, this dude, he's a real gangster. But it's like outside of that, he was still a human being. I think that's what the movie kind of got across more, like just who he was as a person.
Any part of the movie that you didn't agree with, or you thought was just false or taken out of context or anything?
It was a lot of things. I wouldn't speak on that, but because it's not nothing to do with me. It was kind of like with other people, but you know, everybody signed off on it. You know, for everybody to be used, you had to sign an agreement for them to use your name. So I felt like if anybody felt like something wasn't right in there, they had to write to, you know, exit out, or you know, or they didn't want to be a part of it, they could have X'd out of it. We all had to sign off on everything we saw in that movie.
Excellent. So let's talk about the Lil Cease legacy. What is your favorite song that you've either, it could be on your solo album, it could be a feature?
Chicken Heads off my
Heads,
solo
okay.
album. That's my favorite song
solo
that I
album,
ever recorded with Carl Thomas. Shout out to Carl Thomas. That's my favorite song because that was more, that was the lane I wanted to go in. I wanted to be the party guy. I wanted to be the guy that get the weed, the liquor, the women. We partying all night. I didn't want to be the gangster. I didn't want to be the one with the pistol. I didn't want to be the one on the corner. No, I wanted to be the guy you come to the party to fuck some women, to drink some liquor and have a good time. So Chicken Head is more like my identity song. That should have been my first single, but we wanted to go on to play around. But you know, that was more my identity. That was kind of like the lane I wanted to go into, of just being that kind of guy. Like, remember how how the Alcoholics was?
Sure.
Remember that group, the Alcoholics? Like, I wanted to be fun. Snoop Dogg had the song "Ain't No Fun" out around that time, so that was kind of like the lane I wanted to play. Like, nobody wanted to be like the pimp guy. Like, you know, I was more like motivated by Too Short and talking that cool shit. I was like, all right, this is what I want to be. I don't want to be the hardcore guy. I want to be the guy that's chilling with the women, you know, that got the smoke, that the cool guy. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like my lane. So that's why that song is my favorite song, because that was more like of my identity. That's how I wanted to come into the game, being that kind of person.
Definitely. I love that song. You brought up Carl Thomas. What can you tell me about Carl Thomas?
That's my boy right there. Carl Thomas was like, you know, that was our R&B savior of the camp around at that time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we needed, you know, when you needed some soulfulness, we had to go to Carl Thomas, or we go to 112. You know, we just to have that roster with us, you know, made, you know, that's what I think made all our music gel too, because we was around all these rappers. We got Mace, The Lox, Black Rob, me, Junior Mafia, everybody. And then it's like, you know, whenever we need that taste of, you know, some soul food to put on that hip hop, we had so many different options. But Carl was like one of my main ones because he lived in Brooklyn. He's from Chicago, but he was staying in Brooklyn at the time. So right 2 blocks from where we grew up at. You know what I mean? So we used to always see him. You know what I mean? We used to always see him here, come hang out with us. So we always had that bond with Carl. So he was on 2 songs on my album, actually. He's on I Need a Lady, and he was on Chicken Heads on my album.
Okay, excellent.
You know what I mean? So, you know, me and Carl Thomas, you know, he was real tight with the family, as far as the mafia.
For sure. Did you get to chance to know Craig Mack very well?
Yeah. Craig Mack was cool. Yeah, he was cool as fuck with Craig Mack. I mean, we did the Big Mac tour. So when they had the Juicy and the Flavor in Your Ear out, you know, they did a Big Mac promo tour. So I was on that whole tour with him and Biggie. So it was just us every day doing promo, radio stations, in stores.
Do you feel like he's maybe a little underrated? Because he basically was what got Bad Boy Records started.
Yes, I definitely think. I don't think people appreciated him then. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't appreciate Craig Mack. Craig Mack was like, he was really dope. And if you listen to that first album, he has some bangers on that album. But yeah, he had the first really mainstream big single. You know, Flavor in Your Ear. When Flavor in Your Ear and Juicy was out, Flavor in Your Ear was doing real crazier numbers than Juicy. Juicy was just more appealing to the people. The people kind of felt Juicy more, but radio-wise, you know, Flavor in Your Ear was killing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then it kind of reversed. You know, when they came out with their second singles, Get Down, and then Big Papa kind of just took off, and then One More Chance from there. Then it was like, okay, Biggie was out of there. But Craig Mack definitely don't get the props he deserved. He was the real one that, you know, Flavor in Your Ear really that really got the Bad Boy thing really buzzing and really quick. That was like a big single, big record.
For sure. In my opinion, the best remix of all time would be Flavor in Your Ear remix. I don't know if you agree with that or not.
That's definitely one of my best. That's definitely one of my favorite remixes. It's one of my favorites. Sure. There's so many, but that's one of my favorite remixes for sure. Bad Boy got too many. They got too many remixes. I have to stroll through.
Give me any insight on Craig Mack? Did he just not want to be in the business after a couple of albums, or?
I don't know. Like, that part, you know, it's at one time after the promo stuff was over. You know, Big career kind of just took off from there. So it wouldn't be, we wasn't around each other as much then. You know, we did the Bad Boy tour and we did the promo run, and kind of like after One More Chance, you know, it was more like, you know, we was really going away from that a lot. You know, so we didn't really see too much of that because, you know, after that, Biggie was working on the Junior Mafia project with us. Outside of that, he's traveling, doing his own spot dates and own shows. So we was kind of like in our own mix at one point, and we wasn't kind of really into what was going on with everybody else type of thing.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So, you know, everybody was kind of like, you know, about them. You know, we all one unit, but we wasn't into how, you know, Craig Mack was structured his deals or how he was working. Whenever they just had to do work together, we would just see each other in between time, whether we did shows together you know, whether we got certain events together, that was about it. But everybody was kind of like on their own once that first album kind of like was out. Everybody was kind of like doing their own thing for me.
So if we take out Pac and Biggie out of the equation, do you have a dream collaboration? It could be past or present.
Take Tupac and Biggie out.
Yeah.
I would definitely love to do a song with Drake. I would love to do a song with Meek Mills, Rick Ross. You know, some of the new cats I like. Currency Spitter. I'm a real big fan of his. I love Currency Spitter. That'll probably, it's a few more, but those like the main, those like the main. Main ones. I would love to do a song with Rick Ross, Drake, Meek. I definitely wouldn't mind Kendrick and J. Cole's. I would definitely want to do something with Cole's too. Cole's.
Yeah, I'm a big J. Cole fan as well. Definitely.
Yeah. And Griselda. Griselda too.
Okay.
Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, Conway. I would love to record with any one of them. Those like they're like my favorites right now too.
Excuse me. For your Off the Radar segment, I want to get into my favorite song that you were featured on. It was called "I'm Going Out." It was on Mobb Deep's album with Murder Music. Can you tell me what went into the making of that song?
Regular shit. You know, we was real. Shout out to Mobb Deep, R.I.P. to Prodigy. You know, Mobb Deep was real close with us. We was very connected with them, and I remember them just hitting me and say, "Yo, we want to get you on our album." And I was surprised because I was just like, "Hold on, y'all want Lil Cease on the Mobb Deep album? Y'all know I don't do that. Y'all know I don't be rapping like that." They was like, "Nah, you know, we fuck with y'all." You know what I mean? Like, you know, we were just real tight. You know, just on some cool shit. And I took that offer, and I just remember, like, I just kept saying, I got to write my hardest rhyme I ever wrote in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't writing rhymes. I wasn't writing songs in the beginning. Biggie was writing my rhymes in the beginning. I started to write my own records after Biggie passed. So that was like one of my first challenges. I was like, okay, let me see if I can pull off one of these hard ass rhymes. And I took that pressure on. I'm rhyming with Mobb Deep. I'm rhyming with Havoc and P. I got to come hard. And I remember when I did that verse in the lab with them, he was like, "Yo, you held your ground." Him and Havoc was like, "Yo, you surprised the shit out of me, man. You surprised me. I didn't think you." They was like, "Yo, we knew you was gonna come, but we didn't think you was gonna come like that." You know what I mean? Like they were surprised. And I was like, "Yo, y'all brought out the best of me." I knew I had to write one of my best rhymes I ever wrote in my life. I had to. And I remember when that song came out, I remember Ludacris hit me on Twitter and was like, "Your hardest verse you ever did." So, you know, a lot of people to this day, like, yo, I think that was the hardest verse I ever heard you spit on. So that's definitely my favorite. It's my favorite verse I ever wrote in my life.
Excellent. Yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure.
Thank you, man.
What can you tell me about the legacy of Prodigy?
Prodigy is one of the best. He's one of the great ones, man. You know, it's gonna be nobody like him. The way he rhymed was so orthodox. His flow was just so different. He didn't rhyme like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like he was really dope, man. And just to know that, you know, listening to all his music and to understand that he was fighting sickle cell during all this time. So it has like an ill story to tell, be so dope. Like, because they fighting something too internally. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think, like, you know, just to know he was going through all that and the music he was creating, I think it was just like some of the best music ever. Like, you know, just Mobb Deep alone, they're a legendary group. They're an iconic group. You know what I mean? All the consecutive albums, all of them shits was dope. They had a unique sound about them, but Prodigy had a unique flow about him. You know what I mean? Like, and I think he's definitely a legend, and he's definitely one of the best to ever do it. You know what I mean? Like lyrically, solo wise, group wise. You know what I mean? And just Mobb Deep alone, they're just an iconic group. You know, just collectively. You know what I mean? They made some real dope music, gave us some classic albums and some historical records. So,
yeah, definitely iconic. Prodigy, another one. He definitely gets his love, but I still would almost say there's still another lane of people that might not recognize him as being one of the best lyricists of all time.
I believe, but you know, any true hip hop artist will tell you he wants the love from the peers.
True.
So you know, long as the guys, the rappers, the real ones could be like, yo, nah, fuck all that. We're gonna be here to tell people how dope he was. You know what I'm saying? Havoc gonna be here to tell people how dope he was. Busta gonna let people know how dope he was. Like the industry respected them. They was the only group I know that can make hard records into radio songs.
Definitely.
There's nothing radio. It's nothing playful about that song, but it's
not
like
at all.
one of the biggest radio records ever. Quiet Storm, hard record, but radio. Like it's mine. When you hear these type of records, they sound so hard, but they were so friendly radio still too. Like these joints playing on the radio, so they was very dope and good at making hard records, radio songs. You know what I'm saying? Like they were very dope at that, and I don't think they don't get enough props for that.
Agreed. They even put out a hot song with 112 called "Hey Love" too. They kind of switched it up a little. Did a
Yeah,
great job.
and it was still dope. Like to even hear them, like, because they didn't really have like girly records like that. So to hear them even do that, that record was still dope. Even them going outside of just being the mob. You know what I mean? They was like making a girly song, radio song, and it was still dope. Just them even challenging themselves to doing records like that. That was really big for them, and it was still a dope song.
For sure. Well, Steve, it's an absolute pleasure talking to you. Do you have anything you want to promote? How can fans keep up with your career?
They can follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is Lil Cease, all one word, LILCEASE. And that's the same thing for my Twitter, Twitter/Lil Cease, LILCEASE. My Facebook is Caesar Leo. And I got a project coming out called The Heart of the City. We working, once this quarantine thing is fully over, Junior Mafia will get back in the studio and record another song. We're gonna try to work on a little 7-song EP first, just to give y'all a little bit of a taste of what's about to be. And expect more great stuff, some documentaries. Of course, a Mafia doc is coming soon, and that's it right now. But I'm gonna give y'all some music really soon, sooner than later.
Can't wait. Excellent. Thank you so much for your time.
Yo, I appreciate you, man. Thanks a lot, man, and keep doing what you're doing. Dope interview.
Thanks, Cease. Appreciate
All right,
it.
anytime, my brother. You take care.
Thanks.